Good morning. How's it going? What's up? Welcome to I Ask No One with Kevin Ray this here Saturday afternoon at noon, episode number 22. It's been 22 weeks, give or take, that I've been doing this thing. Thanks for joining. And cheers. Cheers to you, and happy birthday to my twin cousins, Paul and Harlan LoVullo. There's 5 pairs of twins in our family, and they're the youngest. They're awesome. Happy birthday, gentlemen. That's to you. Paul LoVullo, he went to Notre Dame University, and Harlan went to Xavier. Harlan played hockey at Xavier. Both of them played hockey at St. Joseph's Collegiate Institute, where I went to high school with Ryan. They're scholarly guys. They're smart, funny. Ryan and I really had to work hard for our B- and C+. But those guys over the years, it just seemed to flourish in sports and academics, and their younger brother Griffin as well. I admire all 3 boys a lot, and especially Paul and Harlan today, it being their birthday. So, gentlemen, happy fucking birthday, and see you not soon enough, right? Andrew Bouskill, our other cousin, it's his birthday tomorrow. He's turning about 52, 53 years old, and he's down there in Charlotte. Andrew Bouskill is one of my very few cousins who have not met my girlfriend, my domestic partner, Ashlyn Rose McCory. So Andrew and Eric, you're up next. Can't wait for you to meet her. And dude, Andrew, happy birthday, bro. I miss you. So today's topic, this is the first week I'm going to be utilizing notes on my phone. Went for a nice jog this morning, had some real estate things to take care of. I didn't even have time to write out my notes. So this is the first time I'll be looking at my phone, right? Fact of the day. I like to start off the top of every single episode with a fact of the day. So today in music, Simon and Garfunkel. You know them? My mother always said she thought Paul Simon was very boring. I remember she said that way back when. But Simon and Garfunkel reunited in Central Park in New York City to 400,000 fans in 1981. So when I saw that stat, I'm thinking Simon and Garfunkel, 400,000 people in the U.S. to see them. Totally surprised by that. The only Simon and Garfunkel I know is when Lars Ulrich of Metallica was talking about in the S&M documentary, S&M 1, 1999 documentary. There's a few people that make me laugh when they use the F word, and that's Lars and Joe Pesci. But Lars used the F word in describing some of the things that he was introduced to by Cliff Burton, who was going to be next week's subject. The late, great Cliff Burton had introduced Lars and the rest of the guys to Simon and Garfunkel and not Sebastian Bach, but the classical musicians, those kind of things. So Simon and Garfunkel, that's the only time I ever heard them cross my path. And also the band Disturbed covered their song, The Sound of Silence. And even The Rock gave it a shout out. But Disturbed has 640 million views on Simon and Garfunkel's The Sound of Silence cover. I remember when that came out on the, that was the Immortalized record a few years back. I listened to the record start to finish. Usually it's very rare for a record for me to listen to it, and I just completely get off on it. And that song was the same thing. I was like, all right, cool ballad. Disturbed aren't one for ballads, but there you go. 640 million views later. I'll show you the link down below under description. You'll have to check it out. It's really a powerful track, powerful video. So today is September the 19th. And also, the Pearl Jam's Versus record was released today in 1993. 1991, that was, wow, that put Seattle on the map. One of the very few records, few that really were big enough to have the world go to Seattle, Washington. So they came back with verses. They didn't make one music video for any of the singles off that. Don't Call Me Daughter. So Daughter is also featured on that record. And there's some really heavy hitters there too. So verses. And then, let's see, back in 2008, there's a library in Western France, in Nantes, France, that there was a piece of actual written music from Mozart that was recovered in 2008. And it was said to have been from the mid to late 1700s, which would have sold for over 100,000. I would have thought more. But Mozart, his actual handwriting found in some old part of an old library that was last seen probably 100 years back, was, at that time, 300-400 years old. Pretty rad. Lita Ford turned 62. She covered a song in the 80s with Ozzy. Lita Ford had a relationship with Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue, which I never knew until I read his Heroin Diaries book. And lately I've been reading a lot of different biographies from my favorite rockers. And maybe your favorite musician's got an autobiography. That's been the new thing to do, really, the past, 5 to 10 years. So think of that person you want to know more about and look them up on Amazon. You'd be surprised how many of your favorite rockers have written autobiographies. So I got one comment here, looking at Luke. Luke, thanks for joining as always, brother. And the quote of the day. This is a shout out to my twin brother Ryan. This is a quote from Dez Fafara of a band called DevilDriver. He also has a surf brand called SunCult, which is also a collaboration with D. Randall Blythe of Lamb of God. This quote was one of the funnier quotes that I've read recently. Every song I've ever written, I've been high. Every song I've ever recorded, I've been high as fuck. Which brings me to my subject matter of today, is this very tour and show on this record. Alice in Chains makes its second appearance on IANO today. Alice in Chains, back in the late summer, early fall of 2010, went on tour with Deftones, one of my all-time favorites out of Sacramento, California, and Mastodon, another one of my all-time favorites out of Atlanta, Georgia. Alice in Chains being from Seattle, Washington. So they are three of some of the cooler rock bands, and they had just released 3 records around the time that they were touring. Bands release a record, they go on tour, boom. And this is one of the tours. It's called the Black Diamond Skye Tour. Alice in Chains had released their Black Gives Way to Blue record, which is the album cover. And then Deftones released Diamond Eyes. Mastodon released Crack the Skye, which was in 2009. But I had graduated from school in 2010 from St. Augustine, Florida, in Flagler College, St. Augustine, Florida, nation's oldest city. And I went on to see Alice in Chains 4 times in 5 different states. The last 2 of which was in Toronto, Canada, and Atlanta, Georgia in September of 2010. And when I was thinking about, today's subject matter last week, after I interviewed, or rather had a conversation with my girlfriend, Ashlyn, my domestic partner, Ashlyn, check out the video. We had a really good time for 35 minutes talking about our S&M2 experience. But I was thinking about what's going to be the subject for today, and fall is upon us, man. I went for a jog this morning in the cemetery at Forest Lawn here, did the entire perimeter, and it's the smell, the glow in the sky, everything. I love it. 4 Seasons here in Buffalo, especially in the fall time, is my personal favorite. But when I think of September concerts, because summers are always busy with concerts, but September was, I was just thinking about Alice in Chains and Mastodon and Deftones when I was traveling up there, still unemployed post-graduation, and just kind of taking a break from school and going off gigging. That's where I went up to Toronto. So Black Diamond Skye, Alice in Chains, Toronto, easy drive right around Lake Erie, or Lake Ontario, right up there to Toronto. And got in line early, as we always did. We always rushed the front. We had GA pit passes, and I just remember at the time it was called the Molson Amphitheater. Me and my twin brother Ryan got there, I'd say around 12, 1 o'clock, like we usually do. It's around 12, 1 o'clock, you're the first ones there. And in this particular place, we had lined up right on the side of the venue there. And I saw a gentleman interviewing Chino Moreno, the lead singer of Deftones. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And at the time, I didn't know much about Deftones. That really didn't. But there was a guy with Banger TV. I can't remember his name, but he was doing interviews for his Metal Evolution show, which turned out really, really good. But he was interviewing Chino right on the side of the stage. And when we were in line, you meet a lot of interesting fellas. And one of those guys happened to be a singer-songwriter with a band called Jugular. And Sam Dunn. Thanks, Luke. So Sam Dunn of Banger TV was interviewing Chino Moreno. And just the way he talks it's inspired me in the way I present my thing here. My I Ask No One. But really cool to be on the side of the stage there, and I'm forgetting his name, but the frontman of Jugular, who's a really cool guy I've seen around at different shows. We ended up going all the way to the front of the stage. I had the same exact shirt on, which is a little baby size now. Matt McCarthy, our good buddy, drove up after work to meet up with us in Toronto at the Molson Amphitheater. And on came Mastodon. Mastodon, I've been in their music video for High Road, which was such a cool experience in 2014. And the only Mastodon I really knew, well, I knew a lot of it, but I haven't seen them live yet. And I've seen them now about 10 or 11 times around the world, including Sydney, Australia, and Germany, and Canada, and California. But that was the very, very first time, man. And me and Ryan, I've had people approach me thinking at shows like these that I was Bron Daylor, the drummer of Mastodon. We kind of look like him. Bron Daylor, the drummer, is from Rochester. So is their guitarist, Bill Kelleher. And the fellow that was directing the music video that I was in, he was the director of some of the videos that were going on behind, on the stage behind the band when they were performing. And I remember them opening up with Naked Burn. And I wish I had a set list to show you because I have some really cool souvenirs from that show. I just couldn't find them in my bag. I must have put them in a different bag. Next week I'll bring those back out to show you. But I had a set list from Toronto and Atlanta, Georgia. But with Toronto opening up with Naked Burn off the Leviathan record, that's a song that I brought that fact up to Bron later on in Maryland last year with Christian Lavender, and he started humming the drumming part. So I'll never look at that song the same. And Naked Burn was such a good time, man. And Capillary and Crests and Colony of Birchmen, and they also played Lazar, which is really cool. Beautiful track, Lazar. I mean, if there's one song by Mastodon I would recommend you check out, it's got a lot of highs and lows, real long. And Lazar, Czarl. I'll include a link down below about that. But Mastodon, it was broad daylight. They were still on. They had a shortened set, and that was it was really cool to actually see them live because at Flagler College, having graduated a few months before that, their Crack the Skye record was our record that we had played a lot of. And to see that, some of those songs in person was killer, absolutely fucking killer. And then Deftones came on. And again, I'm not too familiar with Deftones back then. It's been 10 years, man, 10 years to the month that I was at the show. And I've grown so much as a Deftones fan, living in California and having never been to Sacramento, California before, but they're one of the few bands that really epitomize California to me, as Deftones, Sublime, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and so on. So Deftones, I just remember people yelling Chino's first name, the lead singer Chino Moreno. I just remember people yelling Chino, and I didn't even know his name at the time, and people were obviously really into Chino. I remember a song called, looking back, I saw the set list, and they performed a song called Sex Tape, which is really sweet. And of of course, My Own Summer Shove It, which is still one of my favorites, and Change and all that kind of stuff. But some of those songs off the Diamond Eyes record was just really cool. Really cool lights. Deftones, just me and Ashlyn yesterday, we were out down in Ellicottville, and I'll show you what we got a little bit later on. But we, yeah, it was it was really sweet. But let's see. Yeah, and then Alice in Chains came out. Alice in Chains are my second favorite band all time. I've seen them a bunch, and it's always a good time with Alice, man. It was let's see. The Black Gives Way to Blue record was a really kind of turning of the tide record for us, having graduated from school, and then it's on to our next chapter. So getting a bunch of those songs was awesome. Having Matt McCarthy show up there right behind us was great. My hair was still orange from dyeing it. But overall, amazing time there at the show. And it was only a week or two later that I went down to Atlanta, Georgia to go see the same exact show with Christian Lavender, best buddy from college. He's got his little son, Callan, who must be 7 or 8 months old now. My nephew. I love all my friends' kids, but there's something special, and on my cousins' kids too. But Christian Lavender, I look at as a blood brother, and means a lot to me. So Callan, he's been growing up and love it. But we went down to Atlanta, Georgia, and we made a beer run like us Musketeers usually do, and just lit up the liquor store with some good ass shit. And then we stayed at his buddy's place. His buddy was going to Georgia Tech at the time, so we stayed downtown Atlanta. I introduced Christian to my cousin Casey. My cousin Casey was living, I think, in, is it Cumming, Georgia, or one of those nice towns. So it was nice to introduce Christian to, Casey, and she was going to Emory studying in anthropology, and she's now working at Rand, and she's done her own TED Talk. Really proud of Casey as well. But we went up to Helen, Georgia. It was Oktoberfest time, and we had a good ass time up there. Helen, Georgia is just this small little town, and they're celebrating Oktoberfest there maybe in a few weeks. Well, with COVID, probably not. But we had a great time, and then we went to the show the next day, and pretty much similar set lists. But to see them at Aaron's Amphitheater again was nice. I was at Aaron's Amphitheater in Atlanta back in the year prior for Motley Crue and Godsmack for Crue Fest 2, and that was fun. But let's see here. Like I said, we went to Ellicottville yesterday, and every once in a while, I like to let my friends know how I feel about them. And I went to this place called it's like this sock joint, and I bought some socks. I'm not going to say who these socks are going to, but I just figured I'd show you some of these cool ones. Who knows? Maybe they're yours. Let's see this one. I'm going to be with Dan Lundquist tonight at his home. He's having some friends over. I think he'll like that one. And of course, with this one, next week, Saturday, I'm not going to be here at noon. Probably going to move it up to Sunday at noon. Next week's episode of Cliff Burton. But next week, I am going to be presenting these socks to my late great buddy Mike Holden's dad. There's a guitar on Mike Holden's gravestone, and it's going to be a walk, suicide prevention walk, and it's going to be nice to give this to him. I know he'll like it a lot. I'm going to include a link in the description, and maybe if you want to throw a few quarters or a few dollars to our fund to help in the suicide prevention, it would mean a lot to me. Mike will be 2 years gone in a few weeks. I'd like to keep his spirit alive, blasting Nirvana, Bleach, and all that good ass 90s heaviness, 80s. But yeah, it's gonna be a nice time between 11 and 3 o'clock next week to go away from the real estate and go away from all that kind of stuff and just chill with my best friends and remember Mike. So wasn't able to be there last year. And stay happy and stay healthy, y'all. Stay hungry, stay heavy. Enjoy your weekend. Go Bills. And keep rocking, man. See you next week. Peace.